The clerk didn't scream. She whispered, but it hit me harder than a gunshot. You can't leave. Then, this social security number belongs to a child who died in 1991. Before I could breathe, armed guards closed in, and a man in a black suit walked out of the elevator, looking at me like he'd been waiting 3 decades. He stopped 2 feet away, leaned in, and said, "Welcome back, Noah." If you've ever wondered what it would feel like to discover your entire life was a lie, this is what happened next. Hey everyone, if you've ever survived someone underestimating you, if you've ever been treated like nothing, stick around. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and let me know in the comments what justice means to you. Because today, justice wasn't just served. It was set on fire. Let's dive in. I walked into the federal building that morning hoping for one thing, a stupid little passport stamp, so I could take a janitor job across state lines. $12 in my pocket. An eviction notice folded so many times it was soft at the edges. My whole life held together with duct tape and denial. I thought getting that stamp was rock bottom. I had no idea rock bottom had a basement. When the clerk ran my social security number, I saw her face change first. Not confusion. Not irritation. Fear. Her whisper cut through the hum of the fluorescent lights. You can't leave. A red strobe light spun silently on the wall. 2 armed guards put their hands on their holsters. My stomach turned cold. Then came the words that shattered everything I thought I was. This number belongs to a child who died in 1991. Dead. A dead child. But I was standing there, alive, shaking, and completely untethered from reality. Then the elevator opened. And everything got worse. A man in a black suit walked out like he owned the entire building. No bye. No panique. Just certainty. He walked straight up to me, ignoring everyone else. Welcome back, Noah. I wasn't Noah. I was Mara. At least, that's what I'd been told. But the way he said it, like a father greeting a long-lost child, made something deep inside my ribcage crack open. He guided me gently down a hallway into a soundproof office, the kind of expensive room where truth feels too small to enter. My name is Agent Sterling, he said, pouring me water. You're in shock. Drink. My hands shook so badly, the ice clattered in the glass. You've been missing for 30 years, he said. Your real name is Noah Hayes. You were kidnapped from a park in Texas in 1991. He slid a folder toward me. Inside was an age progression rendering. A girl who looked like me, but rested. Loved. Whole. If you hadn't been taken, he whispered, this is who you would have been. I broke. Not from fear, from relief. Because suddenly everything made sense. Richard, my stepfather, the sheriff who called me trash, who made me sleep on a cot in the laundry room, who fed me scraps and called it generosity. He didn't hate me because I was difficult. Or ungrateful, or unlovable. He hated me because I was evidence, a walking, breathing crime scene. For the first time in my life, the shame fell away. I wasn't a burden. I wasn't a mistake. I was stolen treasure. Your biological parents are on a plane right now, Sterling said. Landing in 20 minutes. They've been looking for you for 30 years. He slid a black phone across the desk. Call them. For the first time ever, the ground beneath me felt like it could actually hold me up. I reached for the phone, and that was the moment everything exploded. The office door slammed inward with so much force the frame cracked. 2 deputies stormed in, and behind them, in full sheriff's uniform, was Richard. The man who raised me like a stray dog he regretted feeding. But this time, his eyes weren't angry. They were dead. Step away from the suspect, he barked. Suspect? Sterling stepped between us. This is a federal investigation. You have no jurisdiction here. Richard slapped a folded warrant on the desk. I do on this. Grand larceny. She stole $50,000 worth of diamond jewelry from my wife's bedroom this morning. My voice cracked. I haven't even been to your house in years. Save it for the judge, he sneered. Deputies, cuff her. One deputy twisted my arm until my shoulder popped. Pain shot down my spine like lightning. Sterling lunged forward, stopping only because pulling a gun in a federal office would start a war. Richard leaned close enough that I felt his breath on my cheek. "I told you never to dig," he whispered. "You're going to die in a holding cell tonight. Your rich mommy and daddy will land too late." My blood went cold. He wasn't arresting me. He was finishing what he started 30 years ago. As they dragged me down the hallway, the world blurred, and suddenly, I was 18 again, standing in the freezing rain, holding a garbage bag of clothes. Through the window, I could see them eating steak. I had eaten a cold sandwich. Richard's voice echoed from memory. "You should be on your knees, thanking me. You were a burden. A mistake." And I remembered something I had forgotten. I had believed him. Every word. That realization didn't hurt. It ignited. For the first time, I saw the truth. He wasn't my caretaker. He wasn't my savior. He was my warden. Every insult, every scrap of food, every be grateful speech was camouflage. Training. Control. He kept me small so I'd never ask who I really was. But I wasn't small anymore. I was awake. 10 feet from the elevator, I went limp. Dead weight. The deputies stumbled. Richard snarled. "Get up. Stop making a scene." I didn't get up. I planted my feet, straightened my spine, and stared directly into his eyes. For the first time ever, he was the one who flinched. My voice tore out of me like a battle cry.
"Check the
timestamp." Richard kicked my leg hard. "Shut her up." But the damage was done. Sterling was already sprinting toward us, FPS officers drawing their weapons. Sterling slammed the elevator doors open with his shoulder. "Let me see the warrant." Richard hesitated, a guilt more obvious than any confession, then shoved it at him. Sterling scanned it. Quietly.
"Deadly."
Then he lifted his finger and pointed at the lobby security monitor. Mara entered the building at 7:45 a.m. He held up the warrant. This was signed at 8 a.m. The lobby fell silent. "She has been inside a federal building under surveillance for 15 minutes before your alleged theft." The deputies dropped their grip on me like I was radioactive. Richard went pale. "It's a typo," he shouted. "Then you lied on a sworn affidavit." Sterling replied coldly. "That's perjury. And dragging a federal witness out of here? That's kidnapping. Release her." The deputies obeyed instantly. Richard stood alone, sweating, trembling, cornered. He reached for his belt. Not the gun. The taser. "Back off," he screamed. "I'll drop anyone who interferes." 3 federal Glocks pointed at his chest in unison. He froze. He wasn't brave. He never was. He dropped the taser with a clatter.
Fine, Richard spat.
"Let's do this properly." He pulled a document from his jacket. A ledger. "I covered up the kidnapping. I kept her. I raised her. You can't touch me." Statute of limitations expired in 2011. He turned to walk out. And then Sterling dropped the hammer. "You're right about kidnapping." Richard smirked. "But you're wrong about fraud." He lifted a thick file, full of traced bank accounts, foster stipends, laundered investments. "You don't own any of it," Sterling said. "Not legally. You held it in constructive trust for the victim."
He pointed at me.
"All of it belongs to Noah." Richard's face twisted, not with fear of prison, but with the horror of losing the one thing he loved. Control. "You laundered money," Sterling added. "You filed false taxes. Those statutes haven't expired." The federal agents cuffed him. He screamed my stolen name. "Mara, Mara," as they dragged him out. I whispered.
"No, I'm Noah."
Sterling slid a paper toward me. An asset transfer authorization. What would you like to do with everything he controlled? I didn't hesitate. "Sell it. Just make sure he never goes home again." He nodded. For a moment, I felt weightless. Not lost. Liberated. The lobby doors opened. 2 figures ran in, breathless, trembling. I didn't need proof. I felt it.
"Mom, Dad."
They held me like they could glue 30 years back together with their arms alone. For the first time, I wasn't a burden. I wasn't a mistake. I was theirs. I was free. Some people spend their whole lives convincing you you're worthless because they're terrified of what happens if you ever learn the truth. But the moment you stop believing them, their entire world collapses. Justice doesn't always whisper. Sometimes, it kicks down the door. If this story hit you, if you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or controlled, hit like, subscribe for more justice-packed stories, and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay sharp, stay brave, and never let anyone write your story for you.